Lying on the constantly active geologic border between North America and Europe, Iceland is a land of vivid climate, geography, and cultural contrasts. Sparkling glaciers, such as Vatna Glacier, lie across its ruggedly beautiful mountain ranges. Abundant hot geysers provide heat for many of the country's homes and buildings, and allow for hothouse agriculture year-round. And the offshore Gulf Stream provides a surprisingly mild climate for what is one of the northernmost inhabited places on the planet. Iceland was founded more than 1,000 years ago during the Viking Age of exploration and settled by a mixed Norse and Celtic population. The early settlement, made up primarily of Norwegian seafarers and adventurers, fostered further excursions to Greenland and the coast of North America. Despite its physical isolation, Iceland has remained throughout its history very much a part of European civilization. The capital, Reykjavik, is the site of the island's first farmstead, and is a thriving city, handsome in aspect, and cosmopolitan in outlook. Other major population centers are Akureyri, on the north-central coast, Hafnarfjordur, on the southwestern coast, and Selfoss, in the southern lowlands. Iceland is a Scandinavian country, the world's oldest democracy but modern in nearly every respect. Unlike most European countries, it is ethnically homogeneous, so much so that genetic researchers have used its inhabitants to study hereditary disorders, and develop cures for a host of diseases. Although increasingly integrated into the European mainstream, Icelanders take care to preserve their traditions, customs, and language. Iceland's rugged coastline, of more than 3,000 miles, meets the Greenland Sea on the north, the Norwegian Sea on the east, the Atlantic Ocean on the south and west, and the Denmark Strait, which separates it from Greenland by about 200 miles, on the northwest. Glacier ice and cooled lava each cover approximately 1/10 of the country's total area. The glaciers are a reminder of Iceland's proximity to the Arctic Circle, which nearly touches its northernmost peninsula. The area covered by Vatnajökull, the country's largest, is equal to the combined total area covered by all the glaciers on the continent of Europe. Because the volcanoes reach deep into the unstable interior of the Earth, we can deduce the fact that Iceland is located on top of the mid-Atlantic ridge. Geologically young, Iceland contains about 200 volcanoes of various types. A new volcano erupting on the bottom of the sea between November 1963 and June 1967 created the island of Surtsey, off the southwestern coast. The new island grew to about 1 square mile in area and rose more than 560 feet above sea level, a total of 950 feet from the ocean floor. Iceland is largely a tableland broken up by structural faults. Its average elevation is 1,640 feet above sea level, but 1/4 of the country lies below 650 feet. The highest point is 6,952 feet, at Vandal's Peak. The glaciers range in size from those in small mountain recesses, to the enormous glacial caps topping extensive mountain ranges. Much of Iceland is underlain by basalt, a dark rock of igneous origin. The oldest rocks were formed about 16 million years ago. The landscape in basaltic areas is one of plateau and fjord, characterized by successive layers of lava visible one above the other on the valley sides. Iceland has more hot springs and salpeteras, volcanic vents that emit hot gases and vapors, than any other country. Alkaline hot springs are found in some 250 areas throughout the country. The largest, Deildartunver, emits nearly 50 gallons of boiling water per second. The total power output of the Torfjokul area, the largest of the 19 high-temperature Salpeterra regions, is estimated to equal about 1,000 megawatts. Earthquakes are frequent in Iceland, but rarely result in serious damage. Most of the buildings erected since the mid-20th century have been built of reinforced concrete, and designed to withstand severe shocks from earthquakes. Traditionally, Iceland has been divided according to the 4 points of the compass. The center of the country is uninhabited. In the southwest, several fine natural harbors have directed interest toward the sea, and good fishing grounds lie off the shores of this region. The Middle West is divided between fishing and farming and has many places of great natural beauty. The western fjords have numerous well-sheltered harbors, and good fishing grounds but little lowland suitable for agriculture. The north is divided into several smaller districts, each of which has relatively good farmland. The eastern fjords resemble the western fjords but have, in addition, an inner lowland. The southeast, locked between the glaciers and the sea, has a landscape of rugged splendor. Heavy rainfall feeds the numerous rivers and lakes in the glaciated landscape. The presence of waterfalls is typical of the geologically young mountain landscape, and the rivers are mainly debris-laden streams of glacial origin, or clear streams formed by rainfall and springs of underground water. Because glacial erosion has often deepened the inner portions of the fjords, there are many fine natural harbors. Elsewhere, the coasts are regular, sandy, and lined extensively with offshore sandbars that form lagoons to the landward side. Iceland has soils of both mineral and organic composition. The mineral soils are basically yellow-brown loess, formed by deposits of wind-transported matter. Both types of soil are suitable for agriculture, but, because of the slow rate of biological activity in the northern climate, they require heavy fertilization. The climate of Iceland is maritime subarctic. It is influenced by the location of the country on the broad boundary between two contrasting air currents, one of polar, and the other of tropical origin. The climate is affected also by the confluence of two ocean currents, the Gulf Stream, from near the equator, and the East Greenland Current. Iceland lies on the border between a tundra vegetation zone of treeless plains, and a taiga zone of coniferous forests. Only about 1/4 of the country is covered by a continuous carpet of vegetation, and the remains of large birch forests are found in many places. Foxes were the only land mammals in Iceland at the time of its settlement. Later, reindeer were introduced, and many are still found in the northeastern highlands. Bird life in Iceland is varied. Many nesting cliffs are densely inhabited, and the colony of ducks at Lake Mývatn in the north is the largest and most varied in Europe. The fishing banks off the Icelandic shores are abundantly endowed with fish, although these resources have been considerably eroded by overexploitation. The population of Iceland is extremely homogeneous. The inhabitants are descendants of settlers who began arriving in AD 874, and continued in heavy influx for about 60 years thereafter. The dominant language in the period of settlement was Old Norse, the language spoken in Norway at the time. The Lutheran faith has been the dominant religion since the mid-16th century, making more than 2/3 of the population belong to the state-supported Evangelical Lutheran Church. The historic isolation of Iceland, caused by the rough seas of the North Atlantic and the country's small market and industry, was broken when steam vessels began to visit Icelandic shores late in the 19th century. The first telegraph cable to Iceland was laid in 1906, and the Iceland Steamship Company was founded in 1914. Iceland has no railroads. Most of Iceland's main rural roads are paved, as are most streets in towns and villages. Keflavik International Airport, the country's primary gateway, is located about 30 miles west of Reykjavik. Air Atlanta Icelandic, a large charter airline, is active worldwide in charter operations, particularly in flying Muslim pilgrims to Mecca, from various communities in Africa and the Middle East. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to give a like, share, and subscribe.